dive into network, Rohit. All the channels for music, network 18. Yeah.
So that means English, Bengali, Marathi. You have content for all of the languages here in the CMS.
Yeah. All the videos that are going on YouTube, we have everything for the entire network here.
So basically from YouTube, so we scrape and then we upload. It's there in the CMS, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. One thing that we have
every half an hour.
So it depends. Typically, I think from the point of half an hour typically is Rohit from a new content being uploaded on YouTube, and by the time we actually enable the entire life cycle of scraping the feed, downloading the media, and getting it into it. It can be operationally tuned, but I mean it's in that range of 20-30 minutes.
So how many files do we download? All bit rates?
I will not have that specific information. Let me check with Preetham, who is now managing the.
I think we pick one of them and then we convert it into MP4 and store it.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll dive into one of the videos. Yeah. So this is basically the information is the title of the video, the thumbnail. Then there is the published date, time, duration. So this information uploaded to and all, I'll just explain. So what it does is, so this is basically, as I said, the YouTube listing that we all download from here. And then there is this upload mechanism. I can even select multiple videos from here. Once I hit upload, it basically opens this entire information in an editable mode. So it gives me option to change the thumbnail, change the title, description, and these are tags which we had got from YouTube. You can obviously enter a new tag, remove these tags, play around with it, basis the need that you have from a Facebook standpoint. On the right hand side, I have the Facebook pages where I need to upload this. Since I'm an admin user, obviously I have access to all the channels, but for specific end users, there is a role management and access control management where we only give them desired access to Facebook and YouTube. So you choose the channel from here, and then you have an option of uploading it right away, or you can actually schedule an upload. And this allows you to also set choose a time, a date and time when you want to schedule the upload. Now, assuming you want to upload this video across multiple channels or multiple pages of Facebook, if you want to do it with the same set of information, you can multi-select from here itself. But let's say you want to customize the title or customize the thumbnail for two different Facebook pages, but effectively for the same video, then I can do an ad again, and it basically duplicates that block, adds a new block at the bottom, and I can again do my set of edits and then go into confirm and upload. So this is basically picking from YouTube, allowing you to change the the metadata information around it, allowing you to also change the thumbnail. So if I do a new, it allows me to pick a thumbnail from my desktop computer, and then I can effectively schedule or do an upload. Any questions here?
Right. Do we have the option to download all bitrate files?
So Gurpreet, your question is in context of YouTube data being scraped and brought in?
Any video file, a media asset that we are downloading and converting to MP4. So if you want to do a progressive one, and secondly, this data is then flowing back to all the CMS we are saying.
So it basically lands into our video CMS, and video CMS में हम एक उसका MP4 we store, And उस MP4 का typically the Akamai HLS is also generated at this point.
So now when we say publish it to News 18, so this will go as an entry to the CMS database.
No. This is an entry to the CNN News 18 handle, Facebook handle. This is only Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, this is only Facebook.
So basically, then the video. How is this? There are two questions. One is the same thing that proxy does also, no? Difference is that proxy gets the feed on real time, so hence you don't need to scrape, and so it's obviously faster. But however, the second more importantly, how does this tie into the CMS?
Yeah, so I'll tell you. So I'll first give you a background of, obviously proxy in one form is doing this activity, but proxy. So as you know, I think our video operations were typically largely outsourced through Pepper Media. So Pepper Media didn't have access to proxy. One. Second, when this tool was being created, this proxy central thing was not in existence. So it was thought that, so Video CMS had a long roadmap. The first phase was obviously this, which you are seeing now. Then there was a second phase which was planned where we would do that live to VOD cut, which proxy is today doing. But by the time I think we ended up finishing this, proxy had already kickstarted that activity of live to VOD conversion and then pushing to Facebook. So, so that was the history. Number two, these videos do not go on. I mean, whatever you are pushing on Facebook, these are purely for Facebook. The video automation that we did for Hindi, I mean, in terms of getting the data from YouTube and then auto-generating the pages on video sections of Hindi is a separate process, again controlled through Video CMS, but I'll explain it. I'll explain that part in a bit. Rohit, does that answer your question?
Yeah. So I'll wait for when we reach that part.
Yeah. So I hope this social wala part is clear. So we had started with Facebook, and then we also wanted to integrate Twitter. But then, like I said, proxy had anyways advanced in terms of its launch, then adoption of other channels, and there was steady progress there. So we decided not to invest time in duplicating that effort here. But when we had started, obviously proxy was not there. The second use case was that Pepper Media didn't have access to proxy. So proxy is only limited to internal employees. So a lot of channel operations which were running out of, Pepper Media was creating videos on YouTube. Our social teams wanted those videos to go on Facebook, and there was no mechanism to directly, it was very time consuming to download it from YouTube and then put it again on Facebook. So download, upload ko cut karne ke liye, I think this became more like a go-to tool till the time proxy came in. Okay, I'll move to the other module, which is, what Rohit was asking. So this was the first module through which we launched. The upload to Facebook part. Then we also were looking at effectively how do we bring that data also for our own platforms. That's where this module of video ranking was thought of. It has 2-3 things here at core. So for Hindi, this is right now enabled. English is in pipeline, and then we have subsequent languages planned. So at core, I think what we did is this module, and there are sub-modules against it. So this is a site to channel mapping. Effectively, you are defining one website to which all YouTube channels, that sort of a mapping exists. So for News 18 Hindi, for example, one would say that, India, then UP, Bihar, MP, Rajasthan, these all channels exist in terms of a mapping with the Hindi website. So effectively, we are saying that all the content from these 4 or 5 channels are what should go into News 18 Hindi. And if I have to at a later point say that, okay, I also strategically we decide that, okay, CNBC Awaaz ke bhi playlists, we want to show it in Hindi somewhere down the line. So that all you have to do is basically enable this checkbox, and then that data should start flowing in into the Hindi site. So this is at a configuration level. The,
So, Sapto, when you say we click and the data starts flowing in the Hindi site as in the front end, or you think it starts populating in CMS from where the editors can start creating a priority and all?
so there is no interface for this on the test CMS because again it was a duplication of effort.
Okay.
So it basically means that on your video pages, like Hindi has a video page, right? In the video section, वहाँ पे this data will, the playlist from CNBC will start showing up.
एक second.
तो मैं खोल के दिखाता हूँ एक से.
Yeah.
So these are effectively playlists which are appearing, right? News 18 Digital, UP Politics, Uttarakhand Politics. So accordingly, we can have all the playlists pulled from CNBC, Awaz, and then they can be shown here. So this, for example, is the playlist from News 18 Bihar Jharkhand, right?
Okay.
If I go down.
So basically, if I tell in future select CNBC, वो एक और playlist बन जाएगी.
एक और playlist बन जाएगा, and then you can play also with the order which I'll explain. Okay. Now going to manage playlist. So these are my channels, the channels that are mapped to News 18 Hindi website, effectively the YouTube handles, and I can choose any handle that I want. And this is a toggle to say that whether I want the playlists on my platform on the basis of recency, or when I say recency, basically imitating the playlist order that YouTube is following, or I want to manually curate and decide the order. So both these options are available. Most of them are today running on an auto mode, wherever whatever YouTube is sort of showing. We basically carry that and replicate that. However, the editors will have control to selectively, if they want to reorder this. So if I want to, let's say that, I don't want top news of June 2020 above, I instead want Bihar, for example, Bihar Vidhan Sabha Chunav was the first one, I can play around with the order. So this on the left is all the playlists that are available, and this is basically what is on live. I can remove them, I can do a remove all, and then I can reorder the list.
So just one very basic question, just for my understanding. Here, we are not really, so essentially, we're saving the file in our system, right? And hence, only the player that is being used is the YouTube player, and hence you have the toggle switch which allows you to change player. It's not really just showing up videos from YouTube in, let's say, like in the CNBC site, where there is no saving happening or something like that. Would you know how it's happening on CNBC system?
So, Rohit, my view is that CNBC is not mapped to the this functionality of a dynamic playlist order and all everything. So they are possibly defined it at a manual level or using their own custom logic. But it is not driven through the YouTube playlists that we are managing through here.
So my question is that that this ordering of playlists etc. is only information that we're getting from YouTube, but just to make life easy, but it's not really. Essentially, the files are being saved at our end, and the playing is happening through our end. Obviously, you're not transcoding it, so it's a single file. But all of that, everything's happening at our end. We change the player and we don't use YouTube players, and it's simply native videos,
It is. So we are basically getting all the library from YouTube. That library has certain playlists. This module allows you to have an order or sequence around those playlists. If at a point you decide कि नहीं मेरा YouTube playlist, whatever order the YouTube team follows, on the website I want to have a custom order. So it allows you to customize that order. So instead of having, like I said, on the front end top news of June 2020 as the first one, you can move this Behes Bihar ki on the top and you can bring this at the bottom, whereas your YouTube playlist order remains unchanged. So it is that additional layer of flexibility in terms of showcase what you want to show to the user in terms of 1, 2, 3.
The player being used here is YouTube or internal?
So at this point, this is all YouTube player. However, I'll cover this manage video player section where it allows you to toggle the player and go to your own native serving.
Okay. At that point, it was YouTube player, and the file was the one that we downloaded, or was it being streamed from YouTube?
No, it is the YouTube player streamed from YouTube itself. So this page today is basically running YouTube player only. The video getting served is also
from YouTube.
Yeah, this is YouTube.
The file that we downloaded has no role till now.
So the file we have downloaded has a role when we decide to toggle the player.
So that file is downloaded for two reasons. One, we need to have a backup of all the videos on our site, right? Because these are uploaded directly by the YouTube team and other guys, and we need to bring them from YouTube and have it on our site as a backup. So that's one step, and then this is the incremental piece on that. अगर use case vary करना है.
एक और use case है उसमें when we are generating that MP4, Gurpreet, is also for syndication purposes, because syndication में they want native MP4s to be given to them. So that's the reason, so all video content that we usually give to say a Geo, NSN, and wherever a video syndication deal is worked out, in the feeds we give them path to our native MP4s.
Yeah, that's a part of Google recommendation also for videos.
Yeah.
Digital file.
Correct. Shall I move ahead?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Now going to video showcase. So what I explained here is basically playlists.
Sorry, one last thing.
Yeah.
So, like you said that the video is being streamed through YouTube, but the ordering is still being managed from here.
Yes. So the order right now is recency or auto, as you want to call it. Auto means basically replicating the structure or the sequence order of YouTube. I can switch to manual and define a custom order for the website alone.
So, but these are order of playlists, right?
Yes. So there are two parts. One is playlist order, which is within a channel. So this is actually more applicable in the context of properties where there are 2 or more YouTube channels running. One sec. So effectively, there is a control for playlist ordering, and there is also a control for channel ordering on this page. So what I mean by that is, let me show it to you. So if I go to video showcase, these are all the channels on my page. YouTube channels, the order of YouTube channels on my page. Now if I decide कि नहीं मुझे यूपी उत्तराखंड नहीं, मुझे बिहार झारखंड न्यूज 18 हिंदी के पेज पे ऊपर चाहिए in the order, so I can move that, and उसके अंदर then बिहार झारखंड के playlists का, this is the module which I was showing earlier. So it's a nested list. The first list is so the video showcase is basically your channel order, and then within the channel is the playlist order.
So एक बार channel के अंदर playlist दिखाना है. I mean, are there multiple playlists under channel?
Yeah. So
हर channel की playlist होगी ना
website.
तो ये जैसे हिंदी है ना, हिंदी के अंदर जैसे आप ये देखोगे तो यूपी उत्तराखंड इज अ यूट्यूब चैनल, बिहार झारखंड इज अ चैनल. तो इफ आई सिलेक्ट लेट्स से बिहार झारखंड, तो ये उसके प्लेलिस्ट्स हैं, मल्टीपल प्लेलिस्ट्स, व्हाटएवर इज रनिंग ऑन यूट्यूब.
Okay.
Yeah. And this module effectively allows you to move the channel orders. तो 2 level है, level 1 is this and level 2 is playlist.
ठीक है.
इसमें अगर आपको फीचर्ड करना हो वीडियो, उसका कुछ वो नहीं है ना प्रोविजन?
वो भी है. उस पे आता हूँ. तो that is managed by top videos. So this module basically gives you the ranking flexibility around top videos, which is the first fold of videos. यहाँ वाले जो है
जो सबसे टॉप पे आते हैं, राइट? ओके,
करेक्ट.
फीचर्ड वाले, करेक्ट.
ये वाला जो ऑर्डर है इसको कंट्रोल करने के लिए I have this top videos on.
And how we deal with multiple channels? की फीचर में तो आप मल्टीपल चैनल्स की वीडियो ला सकते होगे ना?
हाँ, तो आप इसको जो अभी ये जैसे आशुतोष ये ऑटो मोड पे है, सो व्हाटएवर इज बेसिकली मतलब 5 चैनल्स हैं अगर यूट्यूब में, तो व्हाटएवर इज मोस्ट रीसेंट हम उसको दिखा रहे हैं. बट अगर आपको इसको मैनुअली क्यूरेट करना है, अगेन द सेम फंडा, यू स्विच टू मैनुअल क्यूरेशन एंड देन यू कैन प्ले अराउंड विद द ऑर्डर.
नहीं, बट माय क्वेश्चन वाज स्पेसिफिकली आप इसको इसमें अभी चैनल का और प्लेलिस्ट का ऑप्शन तो है नहीं, सो आई विल एक्सट्रैक्ट द वीडियो अभी ये रैंडम ऑर्डर में, राइट? आपका जो लेफ्ट हैंड साइड है रैंडम,
ये वाला नहीं, ये रिसेंट ऑर्डर में,
ये रिसेंट ऑर्डर है. ओके, और यहाँ से आप ड्रैग करोगे, आप पुश करोगे राइट हैंड साइड पे, राइट?
राइट हैंड साइड पे.
बट अगर मान लीजिए मुझे कोई उत्तराखंड में कुछ ढूंढना है तो वो मेरे को यहाँ से नहीं पता लगेगा.
तो सर्च इज सेपरेट, सर्च हमारा अलग है. So search अगर आपको let's say if you know the video ID or the title you can do it. Yeah, I mean obviously a channel filter can be introduced.
मतलब at least there is a key to solve it, right? So video
right.
ID will solve it.
Video ID या title से headline से भी आप search कर सकते. So just to recap, 3 things. First is site to channel mapping. So at a property level, which YouTube channels map to a property. Then there is the video showcase, which is basically ordering of the YouTube handles. Then within those handles, ordering of the playlists. The top videos section is typically dedicated for the first set of videos that we see here. So 1, 2, 3, about 6 or 7 videos that show up here. So that's on the sequence. Okay, let me go to the next module. So effectively this module, which is so there is a top level module also around playlists. Now there are times when what happens is at a YouTube level, YouTube doesn't give you the signal that this playlist is active or inactive, because our video teams, what they do is they keep modifying the the order of what our initial page looks like in terms of the playlist order. But there is no signal when we are scraping that data from YouTube over a period of time. We don't get the signal of whether this playlist is actually active or inactive. So there are custom logics that we have built, or we have given a control to the editorial that agar mujhe let's say for example this March 13, 2022 Amir Khan exclusive interview ka playlist is no longer valid, I can, and it's still showing up on in my catalog or on my website, I can go and make this as inactive. If I want it back in my search and in my list, I can just do this toggle and that playlist will again become active and start featuring in my managed playlists. So this is just to give an additional control of over the catalog of playlists that we get, because there is no explicit signal from YouTube when we are scraping that data that over a period of time whether this playlist has gone active or inactive. अब इसमें एक क्वेश्चन ये भी आता है from a product standpoint that why can't we follow a time-based or a duration-based logic? Now we have seen that for example कुछ videos में हम ऐसा भी देखते हैं कि why the playlist has been dormant for a long period of time, but suddenly they end up reusing the playlist. And all this is from a context when paper media was completely running on their own and there was very little supervision over there. So we had to build these additional flexibilities at our end because we couldn't influence a lot of things at their end operationally. So now obviously, I mean, since that team is being acquired and being moved internally, this process can be streamlined better. The last module that I wanted to cover here is user permissions, or the role management as we want to call it. So there is a section called user admin. This allows you to, so let me open Kaushik's user. So I can add a user here. If it's a new user, I can add a new user. And the access for this user is basically linked with Active Directory, Gurpreet and Siddharth. So जो Active Directory में हमारे system के username passwords use हो रहे हैं, that's where, so the email ID, sorry, the system username and password is what is used. So Kaushik Banerjee का जैसे if I edit the user, so at an overall level, this is the active inactive flag if I want to keep the user active or inactive. These are sections which are to be given to the user. I mean, कौन-कौन से उसको access देने. Then there are channels. So this section is for YouTube channels as the source, and this is basically the Facebook page access as I was explaining in the first module. So on the left hand side, source पे कौन सा access देना है, and on the right side, destination from a Facebook standpoint, इसका access देना है. So those are the controls that one has. Any questions? We had also this additional piece of information that I just want to leave you guys with is we had also built a parallel to YouTube Studio back in early 2020. There was a use case from the video CMS itself. Let's try and upload videos to YouTube. And proxy, like I said, was being evolved at that point. So if I have FP4s residing on my system, I wanted, instead of using YouTube Studio, we wanted to build some API integration and do it from here on. So over a period of time, I think we ran a pilot with a few of the video editors and realized that some of the additional controls that a YouTube Studio has is not provided at an API level. So on the monetization side, control over mid-rolls and certain other aspects were not exposed on the API, and there were few other fields which were not exposed in the API. So while we built it, I think it's not being used. After a pilot of about 2 to 3 weeks, I think the team decided to stick to YouTube Studio as the upload, and then obviously Proxy took over. So now it's Proxy, Grabio to a large extent, and YouTube Studio to a limited. I mean, the videos are also YouTube, for example. Pepper Media for certain channels still uses the video CMS, but YouTube operations are largely now Proxy or Grabio. That's all that I had to. Any questions, anyone?
So for example, people who are from Hindi editorial team would have access to only the Hindi YouTube and Facebook channels, right?
Yeah, I mean that can be configured here. So, Sahil, till now, I think this module
is it auto configured, right? I mean, I don't think anyone is. Actually, sorry.
So जो end user है इस module के, they have typically been your social teams, जिनका mandate है कि they have to upload on native videos on Facebook.
Okay.
So the desk team until now has not been really the end user for this.
Yeah.
इसकी onboarding कौन करता है जब कोई user नया आता है?
So typically up to I think this product has been running for long. Ideally ये जो social media teams हैं इनके ये लोग खुद ही manage कर रहे हैं access control.
Correct.
There was a reports module also created, but इसमें जैसे Facebook uploads के ऊपर if I wanted to see कि किस user ने कितना upload किया है, or if I want to filter it by the Facebook page or by the channels between a time range, that sort of a report was also made available. So by YouTube, by Facebook, the financial report I'm not aware, this got added later. But yeah, I mean, these basic reports were created.
So now if we move into the next step of what you're talking about, how does this differ from the videos that are going into the CMS that you were saying? and why is there a difference between this and that? And so this is already doing it. Why aren't we pushing from here to CMS rather than doing a separate cron?
So the workflow, Rohit, is exactly this what you said. We get it into the video database. The configurations are set in video CMS, and then there is this handshake layer, which from an integration standpoint of pushing drafts into the desk CMS needs to be done. So Hindi ke liye whatever was done, English is already doing it, and then the regional languages have started moving. So ये जो additional थोड़ा सा काम है of configuration definition of configuration in video CMS for respective properties, and then this interconnect with the desk CMS. ये incremental काम है, but at a source level we have all the videos we need in the central database.
So now if we want to use this for now if you want to use this for the app management and video management on app and web, so you want to take that up?
I think this becomes right now also this is the syndication source, right? So app becomes yet another syndication partner, and all the videos to that can be sourced from here as part of the feeds.
So app में are you looking at a custom order in terms of giving to the editorial control over sequencing, prioritizing, what to showcase, which all categories or segments to showcase? Is that the view?
So eventually, yes, but not generally. Out of experience, the editors don't generally shuffle around too much of channel hierarchy and all, but they may come up once in a while in a quarter for something, but not a major use case primarily. But yes, I think जो कि है इसमें, which channels shuffling up and down, right?
दूसरा क्वेश्चन ये है साहिल कि ऐप में are you allowing multi-select of languages, or is it one language at a time?
Not in the first phase, but yeah, second phase will have multi-language.
So अभी के हिसाब से तो this will align because this is also like one language or one property at a time, right? When you basically go into that hybrid approach of mixing two different languages, then I think this will need some bit of customization.
So
it wouldn't need. No, Sudipto, it won't need in that case also, because let's say in that case the app will make a multilingual call and store it on its end, right? Just like a RSS feed, I can have a feed for multiple languages channels, and then they make it to the app's repository, right? और उधर पे वो वीडियो किस ऑर्डर में दिखाना is a business logic or an algorithm which anyway is driven by the aggregator app. So these videos,
if it is an algo, then that's fine. But I was just responding to Sahil's question where, at one point they would want, or in the rarest instance, give editorial the access of curating it. So in that case, I think इसमें थोड़ा सा काम होगा. Otherwise, if it is
अगर priority match करनी हो और multiple languages की priority match करनी, then you are saying, right?
Right.
Otherwise, अगर algo based है, then तो obviously two different RSS can be mixed based on algo logic.
Absolutely. Algo level पे this would work.
So the one more question. So for example, this was video CMS, and this is video CMS, right? ये video CMS ही है ना?
हाँ, इसी को हम video CMS बोलते हैं.
Okay. So the video CMS, currently this environment is powering the web experience or MWeb experience, basically the web ecosystem experience. Now pretty much the same overall use cases will be replicated on the app. So for the app bit, while it's an open debate, but can we recreate the whole environment for an app ecosystem, because this is web, right? It will be in a way a replica of this.
Because so this is my.
For example, Hindi environment के लिए I need to select the channels and the playlists and the hierarchy, right? So वो सब fundamentals वहाँ पे भी valid रहेंगे जो कि यहाँ पे valid है. वेब के केस में.
So at a enterprise level, from a backend perspective, these are configurations that we are doing. In fact, if you go into the current News18 app also, Sahil, video section pe, this same order is getting replicated there also. Current News18 app.
Yeah. But in case if you want to keep it separately for app, just in case, I'm not saying that we want, but in case we want, then we'll have.
हाँ तो एक मॉड्यूल इंट्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं उसका.
और उस केस में साहिल, site and channel mapping, there'll be another site, na, which will basically be 18, for example, which will get mapped to all channels. So, I mean, all channels will be mapped to that particular site. ऐसा नहीं.
आप यहाँ पे एक बना सकते हो. Let's say instead of calling it site, you can call it whatever XYZ property, and then start mapping it.
तो पर उसमें ना तो जैसे कि आपकी मेरे को थोड़ा क्लियर करो यहाँ पे. क्योंकि चैनल के साथ हमारी लैंग्वेज भी एट्रीब्यूटेड है, पर वहाँ पे 18 के अंदर तो मल्टीपल 13 लैंग्वेजेस अंदर होंगी.
हाँ तो मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि ये जैसे ये लिस्ट है of all our properties. You can create one more property called 18 app.
हाँ ठीक है.
और 18 app में you can select all the channels under the umbrella.
Correct.
ठीक है. उसके बाद that selection of language to mapping, वो तो आपका anyways इस लेवल पे मैप है. News18 हिंदी लेवल पे कौन से चैनल्स आपके मैप्ड हैं, गुजराती लेवल पे कौन से मैप्ड हैं, all that is defined. So basis the selection of the user, you can then toggle it from here. So one is so property level configuration. So just to simplify, property level configurations already exist. You are creating one more at an 18 app level, ताकि user अगर somewhere down the line, and this use case won't occur right now, but at a future point when you are trying to make it multilingual, तब आप यहाँ पे वो उसको
हाइब्रिड वाला जो आप बोल रहे हो ना,
हाइब्रिड वाला.
हाँ बट रोहित, करंटली अपना ब्रोकन अप 18 अपने आप में कोई एक इंस्टेंस नहीं है. 18 इज अ अम्ब्रेला अंडर व्हिच मल्टीपल लैंग्वेजेस आर एक्जिस्टिंग, राइट? सो फंडामेंटली तो ऐसे होगा 18 हिंदी, 18 इंग्लिश, 18 समथिंग होगा. हाँ, या तो अलग-अलग बनाने पड़ेंगे. यस, अगर अलग मैनेज करनी है. करेक्ट, एब्सोल्युटली.
Are you going to serve a different order for web and a different order for app? Is that the view?
Worst case scenario देख रहे हो.
App is anyways aggregated ना सुदीप तो.
नहीं but वो languages level पे तो नहीं है ना रोहित. That's what Rohit Sahil is saying. अभी तो multilingual नहीं है. It's one language at a time.
So when you're looking at English, then app in English can have first post CNBC as well as money control ना.
हाँ तो वो मैं वही कह रहा था कि आप यहाँ पे अच्छा got it.
So वो समझ गया. फाइल बंगाली, मराठी इन सब में चल जाएगा. इन सब में तो we can use the same web वाला ordering because multiple properties नहीं है. But क्योंकि जिन भी languages में multiple properties हैं, जैसे इंग्लिश, हिंदी, गुजराती for example, उसमें फिर ये बेसिकली अलग से 3 नए चैनल बन जाएंगे.
हिंदी में ज्यादा फोकस रहेगा. हाँ, तो अलग बनेंगे अगर बनाने हैं. यस,
तो एक इंग्लिश का बनेगा, एक हिंदी का बनेगा, एक गुजराती का बनेगा. तो उतना ही है जिसमें मल्टीपल चैनल्स हैं हमारे पास सेम लैंग्वेज. बट इसके अलावा वन मोर थिंग सुदीप्तो, आई मीन आई थिंक व्हाट वुड आल्सो रिक्वायर इज दैट अभी तो ये चैनल्स के हिसाब से आता है, whereas we want to move to categories ना.
Right.
वो कैटेगरी क्रिएशन वगैरह रहना पड़ेगा ना. एंड दिस राइट नाउ इट्स बेसिकली शोइंग बाय चैनल एंड ऑर्डरिंग विद इन द चैनल. ऐसा ही हो रहा है ना अभी तो.
हाँ ऐसे ही है, क्योंकि उस टाइम मतलब when we had started we all know YouTube पे कैटेगरीज नहीं थे.
तो अभी तो हमने जो कैटेगरीज डालने शुरू करे हैं,
और कैटेगरी भी आज टैग बन रहे हैं ना रोहित.
हाँ करेक्ट.
वो तो वैसे भी हमें मेटाडेटा के साथ ही.
हाँ मेटा के साथ आएगा. एक नया वो ऐड करना पड़ेगा कि कैटेगरीज हैं और उस कैटेगरी में सबके वीडियो दिखा दो बेसिकली ना. तो अगर हिंदी के 5 चैनल हैं तो पांचों चैनल के पॉलिटिक्स के वीडियो एक साथ दिखा दो.
वो तो ग्रुपिंग है रोहित. वो तो मेटाडेटा के बेस पे जब वीडियो की फीड हमें मिलती है, उस फीड में कैटेगरी करके एक आप अगर फील्ड भेजोगे तो वो फिर हमारे तरफ ग्रुपिंग हो जाएगी उसकी.
ठीक ही लग रहा है मेरे को तो. सिद्धार्थ, व्हाट डू यू थिंक? Want to extend this or do you want to go by Mogi?
फीचर कंपैरिजन आप देख लो ना मैं तो दोनों तरफ वो कर सकता हूँ।
मल्टी बिट रेट कैसे करेंगे?
ट्रांसकोडिंग तो हो नहीं रखी इसमें, ट्रांसकोडिंग तो करनी पड़ेगी।
वी आर डाउनलोडिंग 1 MP4, अगर उसको बेस लेके करेंगे तो गलत हो जाएगा।
वो तो आपका गुरप्रीत आई थिंक वो अज़्योर वाला HLS तो आपका आ ही जाएगा ना तब तक।
नहीं बट सोर्स तो हम एक MP4 दे रहे हैं ना, which may be a lower profile. Either we download the highest profile of MP4.
I think we do the highest one only. तो मैं एक बार कोड में चेक करवा लूंगा टीम से, but I'm sure we would be picking the highest of those.
But one more thing, Sudipto, we could be pushing the files from proxy only, na? Either why do we have to go through YouTube?
हाँ तो वो इंटीग्रेशन अभी है नहीं ना रोहित, वो हो जाएगा।
YouTube is anyways exhaustive. Proxy अभी सब जगह यूज भी नहीं हो रहा है. I think at a later stage that can be done.
हाँ वो प्रॉक्सी में भी वेब इंटीग्रेशन डेस्क CMS का इंटीग्रेशन हुआ भी नहीं है अभी। It is in the plan. It is not in place right now.
I'm not saying for desk.
हाँ
This is delaying by half an hour, na? Because we are every half an hour. Whereas proxy से YouTube पे अगर publish हो रहा है तो वो real time मिल रहा है।
हाँ आप कह रहे हो वहाँ से इधर पुश
वहाँ से जब वो YouTube पे डाल रहा है जो भी, वो at least for the channels जो वहाँ से publish हो रहे हैं for example, वो तो यहीं से डायरेक्ट उधर से इधर के साथ रिमूव
कर सकते हैं। अंडरस्टूड, कर सकते
हैं ना? तो वो उन वालों के लिए YouTube स्क्रैपिंग की ऐसा जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी, फिर
नहीं पड़ेगी। यू राइट।
वो तो जैसे लोकल 18 के वीडियोस आते हैं सुदीप, तो वो वाला सिनेरियो हो जाएगा ना, लाइक दे आर जस्ट पुशिंग द वीडियोस फ्रॉम प्रॉक्सी डायरेक्टली इनटू द सिस्टम।
तो इसमें थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस है सिद्धार्थ, इसमें क्या हो रहा है कि इन केस ऑफ local videos are not getting into this. My assumption is it's not going into this database. Sorry, in the structure of this channels and all, because यहाँ पे अभी local channels add नहीं हुए। These are only our main channels which are here. तो use case थोड़ा सा different है। इसमें ये हो रहा है कि local के case में MP4 is actually coming from the ground, going into via 518 and going into desk CMS and YouTube. This is exactly what Rohit is saying for proxy. ये proxy में तो वो VOD कट रहा है, you basically are pushing it on YouTube, so you bypass that flow of downloading from YouTube and saving it into the database. तो वो फिर duplication हो जाएगा. Instead, you create a direct pipeline between proxy and video CMS.
सिर्फ तो एक सेकंड में एक डिजाइन दिखा रहा हूँ, सॉरी एक बार आप कर लो,
फाइल 18 का भी यहाँ आना पड़ेगा ना कंटेंट।
फाइल 18 का तो इसमें थोड़ा सा फ्लो में चेंज करना पड़ेगा रोहित, क्योंकि अभी क्या हो रहा है कि उनके हैंडल्स अलग हैं एंड हमारा जो मतलब जो पाइपलाइन लिखा हुआ है वो बेसिकली इसलिए ऐसा लिखा हुआ है कि जितने भी YouTube चैनल से उनका कंटेंट डाउनलोड करता रहता है। तो we'll have to build a custom pipeline where this data stays, because this data is basically coming to our own platform. तो हम इसको सेव रखेंगे and we'll showcase whatever local 18 handles are required from a showcasing on the front end side, but we will not sync the data from YouTube back into our system because उसकी जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि वो डेटा आपके पास ऑलरेडी है सिस्टम। तो थोड़ा सा कस्टम, हल्का सा थोड़ा कस्टमाइजेशन होगा।
तो बेसिकली ये सारी चीजें ऐड करनी पड़ेगी ना, एक तो कैटेगरीज आप ऐड करोगे इसमें, ऊपर से ये कंटेंट आप जो फाइल 18 का कंटेंट लेके आओगे, फर्दर इसके अंदर आपको 18 ऐप के लिए चैनल्स क्रिएट करने हैं, काफी सारा काम है।
राइट,
साहिल आप क्या बोल रहे थे?
नहीं वो मैं लास्ट में एक बार डिजाइन दिखा के एक बार तो सर क्लैरिफाई कर लूंगा ऐप का डिजाइन एक वॉच सेक्शन का।
ओके सिद्धार्थ, फाइनली what is your this thing with using what will you be able to meet the timeline?
either
using either तो फिर ठीक है, आपकी कॉल है सर। अगर आपको लगता है ये इंटरनल ज्यादा बेटर है तो आप इंटरनल से कर लो, जिसपे आपको ज्यादा ट्रस्ट है आप वो दे दो। एट द एंड ऑफ द डे
दोनों ही केस में मेरी वीडियो की टाइमलाइन अभी मीट नहीं हो पा रही है। In either of the cases we are late to start implementing the video support. So I was tempted more for Mogi in case everything is available from them out of the box, right? पर उसमें भी पूरी heavy lifting about the CMS is yet to be done, right? We will have to write all the pipelines to move the video from our ecosystem into their CMS, right? And that's the reason why I was asking them कि आपके पास mix and match वाले models हैं क्या? कि आपका प्लेयर हमारा CMS कॉम्बिनेशन भी मैं कर सकता हूँ, हमारा प्लेयर उनका CMS भी कर सकते हैं, और मतलब they allow all those combinations. That would have given us more flexibility of not doing heavy lifting upfront. We could go about doing that heavy lifting over a period of time. जिस भी तरफ चीजें कंसोलिडेट करना है, तो पूरा माइग्रेशन वाला जो एफर्ट है, you can manage it better if there are these flexibilities available from either of the platforms.
Achha, one last module which I missed showcasing. So there which I was telling you guys is the ability to toggle between players. So there is this manage video player for a property. I can go here. This is a default player. So if you toggle this, effectively what it does is it shifts your entire inventory for that whole property onto Video.js. And I can go back to YouTube at any given point in time. These are the vast stack configurations for desktop web and mobile web. This is different. I mean, the standard vast stack that we have. Local 18 obviously now has different vast stack, so that's not plugged here because that's a custom implementation. But generic vast stack is sort of defined here. For Stanley's use case, we had created this additional configuration for defining campaigns. So what it does is it allows you to configure, which player to use, इसको autoplay enable करना है कि नहीं, what kind of keywords are we targeting, and then an end date for that campaign. So whatever pages have that keyword targeting enabled, key value pair targeting from the front end enabled, उनके ऊपर जो video inventory है, that basically starts serving through this configuration. So till now, I think we have run some campaigns using the Video.js player, and he will have more details which all campaigns has he run in the recent times. But this is something that was for monetization.
तो यहाँ पे मैंने अगर campaign configure करा, तो how does it impact the playlist that's getting served?
Playlist पे कोई impact नहीं है, Siddharth. This is basically wherever on the site that keyword is getting used. So what it does is in backend, the principle is passing the keywords via key value pair into DFP. तो हमारा जो content लिखा जाता है उसमें if editorial starts using, for example, the example given here is coronavirus. So if they start using, let's say, coronavirus in their articles, and उसमें जहाँ पे video है, so Stanley will get a signal that key value pair में coronavirus आ रहा है. And against coronavirus, this campaign is, for example, configured. तो vast tags के through वो campaign को he can target from DFP. Yeah, that's about it. Sahil, you had something.
वो मैं एक बार वो रोहित वाले पॉइंट, रोहित आपका हो गया क्या पॉइंट? मैं एक बार दिखा देता हूँ फिर एक मिनट. एक बार जस्ट शो यू डिजाइन तो आउट ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस आपको कहीं ब्लॉकर दिख रहा है क्या? जस्ट इन दैट वी आर mentally at peace. So are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. तो ये डिजाइन है हमारा उसका वॉच का. So default section is live TV, but however it's somewhat similar to our landing page of video जहाँ पे ये basically आपके channels हो गए, Crux हो गया, ये Tekken Auto में भी a playlist of that and all. So ये अलग-अलग categories या फिर channels बोल सकते हैं जो हम यहाँ पे play कर रहे हैं live TV पे, right? And then there will be individual channels की listing, Crux, Tekken Auto, blah blah blah, जो भी है English में, ठीक है? ये तो totally अलग component हो गया, which is not related to this video CMS. This is live TV, but basically ये वाला तो I can see a replica जो web पे कर रखा है, वैसे ही replica बन जाएगा हमारा ordering का, ठीक है? But with respect to individual जो channels हैं, उनके अलग से playlist निकल जाएगी, right? ये English environment.
हाँ निकल जाएगा. So Crux के जितने playlist हैं हमारे CMS में होंगे. You can decide the order.
Order आ जाएंगे, right? और उसके अंदर connected आएंगे. Okay, ठीक है. So that's what I wanted to double check on.
To a certain extent, Sahil, ये सारी चीजें ना अभी भी current app में हैं. If you go to the video section, it doesn't have obviously video section में अभी live का integration नहीं है.
Yeah.
But जो आप कह रहे हो वो है already उसमें.
Yeah. I don't know what is तो power कहाँ से हो रहा है? यहीं से हो रही है अभी भी News 18
यहीं से हो रही है. हाँ ये definition उसका largely यहीं से है. So for example, if you go to Hindi on video section of Hindi on News 18 app, वहाँ पे ये आपको मिलना चाहिए. अरे ये
ठीक है, I'll check तो मैं मैरी कर दूंगा डेस्कटॉप और ऐप के उसको ऑर्डर.
हाँ मुझे क्योंकि दिख रहा है, मुझे ना वहाँ पे अभी करंट उसमें दिख रहा है.
ठीक है.
कड़क न्यूज़ 18 हिंदी ये सब हैं वहाँ पे.
Yeah, News 18 UP Uttarakhand and all that.
हाँ so this for you for English it becomes Crux, News 18 Auto and so on.
Yeah.
So then, Sahil,
Yeah.
the categories that we create on the below the live TV, it will be categories and not YouTube channels, na?
Yeah.
Similarly, on top also, it will be categories and not YouTube channels. Then I assume, na? So some cases categories and it could be YouTube channels also could be a category. For example, Crux is a property.
Yeah.
So you could have a separate category which is Crux, for example, and which is, but otherwise you could have a tech alag, you could have an entertainment alag, you could have an auto alag.
Yeah. Fair point, right? थोड़ा सा मेरे mental water में अभी वो channels और मतलब कि playlist का confusion है, but tags का I got the point जो meta में आ रहा है. So against the tags we can also derive, like Siddharth said, it's just a meta value, and then if it's getting passed to us, then the output can be extracted using that, right?
So उसमें video CMS का intervention नहीं है साहिब. It is more like writing a custom logic of tags and then using it in the app. क्योंकि tag again, tags again, YouTube वाले tags will not be more relevant. But now we have started this exercise which Tejas and Rohit are aligned. Chinese team has started using, in the description they have started using some identifier for every video. तो उनको जब लगता है कि this video is they are creating, उसमें वो लिखेंगे N18 underscore, that's the prefix we are using. उसके बाद they will pass the category name. So it could be world, it could be entertainment, movie, whatever. तो उसको फिर हम जब पार्स करके अपने सेंट्रल डेटाबेस में उसको स्टोर कर लेंगे. Now this is in works. It's obviously not live as yet. They have anyways operationally started doing this exercise for English and Hindi channels, and they will expand to the other channels. But once this gets going from the tech side, for I think bulk of the videos, this information will start flowing in कि ये video कौन सी category को map करता है in the desk CMS, and then you can use that information the way you want. So you will always have the playlist information which you currently have. Additionally, you will also start having the category information कि ये किस category के desk CMS की कौन सी category को this closely represents.
तो अभी ये things में तो tagging शुरू हो गई है from the video.
Operationally they have started, yeah.
But for technically we need to parse it and then pass it on to the where it's needed, right? Be it video CMS, be it anywhere else, or be it desk CMS.
हाँ, तो अभी वो वाला पाइप हमने अभी लिखना बाकी है. It's part of the sprint, but we haven't picked it as yet. जहाँ पे you will parse that information and save it in the central database, and also with the video automation happening for English and regional languages, desk CMS में वो जो draft stories बन रही हैं, उनके URL में जैसे हमारे stories का category आता है, वहाँ पे भी category आने लगेगा. So you will start seeing video stories with /entertainment or /movies or /world in the URL. So that's in the pipeline, and there will be some cases where they possibly miss upon the passing the category, तो वहाँ पे वो map नहीं हो पाएगा. That's always a case because end of the day that's operational, manually done.
ये सिर्फ तो कौन से स्प्रिंट में है? जुलाई स्प्रिंट में है ये टास्क, because then we'll have to, अगर हमारे को ऐप में कैटेगरीज के हिसाब से करना, then we dependent on that, right?
So I'm not aligned on the app release bit, मतलब वो कब है, but हमने जुलाई स्प्रिंट में रखा है इसको. So mid July तक I think this should be in place. But this will always follow, two sequences. One, Sahil, is that video automation for English. So जहाँ पे हम video CMS के through English के अंदर वो pages बना रहे हैं, and then second bit is this mapping of categories. This both will have to go either one after the other or in close succession. तभी आपके ऐप में you will start seeing that category information. And there are chances, like I said, कि जहाँ पे there could be a bunch of videos where they miss passing the category. तो वहाँ पे we'll have to also think कि उसका फिर आप कैसे दिखाओगे? Will it fall into the playlist mode? Will you still, because playlist तो हमेशा ही रहेगा. Playlist will not go away.
So, as I understand, एक तो इसमें transporting is something that is pending, that is required to be done, as Gurpreet mentioned. And then there is this creating of categories, and then creating that extra channel for the 18 properties. इसके अलावा कुछ? Anybody?
Is the plan to use native player, Rohit, when we launch?
So, app पे तो native player use हुआ है. While we can always choose to use YouTube player also, but ideally तो app पे native use होना चाहिए. मतलब हम लोग शुरू भी कर सकते हैं YouTube पे.
Native ही है वहाँ पे.
Native ही होता है generally.
अभी at this point I think News 18 का जो current app है, that is probably on YouTube PFP, Siddharth.
I think हम अभी जो integrate करने का plan कर रहे थे, हम native पे ही कर रहे थे.
I think it will. So I don't know the timeline. मतलब आप लोग end July सोच रहे हो क्या? Or is it mid July? App launch.
I think what are the benefits of not using a native player? Like obviously उसमें आप wrapper लिख सकते हो, you can do all those different stuff. But native player में
so I'm not against native. I'm saying that I was just giving context of what is getting used right now in the current News 18 app. दूसरा मैं ये कह रहा था सिद्धार्थ कि if our Azure HLS activity falls in place by then तो आपका सारा HLS हो ही जाएगा, right?
See, the only issue उसमें ये होगा कि we were not planning to take the HLS conversion for these videos which are uploaded on News 18, right? Because they are all playing in YouTube player only. If we take this route, what it effectively would mean is कि हमको जितनी भी video inventory है उसको HLS में convert करके store करना पड़ेगा, which would make it as a costly affair. But then that, from the future point of view, is also making it ready कि आपको कभी भी YouTube से move out करना है, you can move out at any given point of time without any disruption.
I think that is how it should be, right? Because monetization campaigns will come any day, any time, and then operationally, I mean, one approach obviously could be, but it will make it very tedious कि कौन से वीडियोस को फिर आप कन्वर्ट करोगे इन एचएलएस ऑन डिमांड, तो फिर will become an overhead.
HLS ऑन डिमांड वाला तो नहीं है, वो प्री ट्रांसकोडेड वाला ही फ्लो है पूरे उसमें. It is that we transcode and keep it, and then that will get given as a handle for whichever is the client to make a call on that. तो अगर हम सब वीडियोस को ट्रांसपोर्ट करना स्टार्ट करेंगे तो only catch I see is the transcoding cost and the storage. All of that increases. That's the case. Either we do in-house or we go the outside player. Whatever inventory of videos you are giving to the partner, he is going to transport all of it.
तो कॉस्ट तो आपका बेसिकली आप even if you go to any external player or you transport it via Azure on our own infra, I mean that cost is
आएगा ही आएगा, वो cost आएगा ही आएगा. और जैसे अभी
irrespective of the player, ये सब तो चलो ठीक है. I think the point to decide or the major thing to decide right now is that Mogi or non-Mogi, ना Mogi or internal. I think from what I'm seeing, internal we have quite a lot of things. Mogi में भी कुछ straightforward solution मिल नहीं रहा है ना?
हाँ, इसमें I would suggest maybe जो questions साहिल ने prepare करे थे for Mogi to answer, right? Let's try to see अगर वो पूरे what is the answer for those questions from our platform. And that will help us.
साहिल एक बार खोल लो प्लीज मेल.
हाँ मैं एक मिनट दो, I'm just searching.
एक तो लैंग्वेज का था सेट जो मेरे को याद है. One was relating to language, which is sorted because here you just create a new site, ना? So you'll be creating site and उसके ऊपर आपका channel mapping हो जा रहा है. तो वो लैंग्वेज का पार्ट तो सॉर्टेड है ना? दूसरा क्वेश्चन जो मेरे को याद है वो पीआईपी के अराउंड था. वो पीआईपी तो ना उनके पास है ना हमारे पास है.
वो तो प्लेयर में था ना.
हाँ, वो प्लेयर में पीआईपी था, वो ना उनके पास है ना हमारे पास है. दोनों चीजें फर्स्ट फेज में नहीं मिलनी थी हमको एनीवेज, है ना? एंड तीसरा था लाइव टीवी की उनको कस्टमाइजेशन करानी थी, वो आपने कर ही दिया ऑलरेडी. उन्होंने फिर भी करनी है अभी वो. उसके अलावा एक या दो ही और पॉइंट थे, हमने कवर कर ही दिए.
आई थिंक एक पीआईपी था ये ना, एक था प्लेइंग वीडियो लिस्टिंग इन द प्लेस होल्डर. वो प्लेयर लेवल का ही है कि वहीं पे प्ले हो रहा है प्लेस होल्डर पे.
करेक्ट. ये हम लोग इंटरनली कर पाएंगे, वो लोग अभी नहीं करते. For us, since we are developing, we'll obviously be able to embed player and do it ourselves. And EPG integration है नीचे, वो तो आपने कर ही दिया ना सेट, शायद डिजाइन में दिख ही रही थी.
EPG क्या वो लाइव टीवी?
ये वाला ये शोज के ऑर्डर.
ये तो कॉन्फ़िगरेशन साइड है, ये तो हो गए हैं.
और ये आई थिंक कर भी दिया है. अमित
हमें पता है कि करना क्या है. नहीं वो उसने डमी डेटा डाला है वहाँ पे, पर हमारे पास प्लेस होल्डर आ गया है. हमें बस उसको फॉर्मली पूरा इन्वेंटरी डाल के और फिर दिखाना चालू करना है. अभी वो डमी डेटा के साथ.
या एक था ये लैंग्वेज सिलेक्शन वाला था, एक ये स्क्रीन दिख रही है ना मेरी? एक लैंग्वेज सिलेक्शन था, वो सॉर्ट हो गया. बाकी कॉटलिन एसडीके जो उसने लिखा था उस पे हम पूछ रहे थे कि यार ये, पर अब तो खैर दैट्स आउट ऑफ क्वेश्चन. मतलब कि उसको बनाने में टाइम लगेगा ये सब. एसडीके
seems like internally we are in a better position to do this.
हाँ, even I feel so.
हाँ, उसके साथ सिर्फ एक ही बेनिफिट अब मुझे दिख रहा है कि वो जो सेल्स वाली साइट बनानी थी वीडियो की 18
हाँ,
वॉच
watch
18 है तो
watch 18.
करेक्ट, वो एक रेडीमेड मिल जाती, दैट्स ऑल। और ये ट्रांसपोर्टिंग वाला पार्ट तो आप लोगों को करना ही है।
वो भी it's a UI layer, Rohit, on top of our existing CMS. तो ये जो व्यू सुदीप्तो दिखा रहे थे, ये एक विजुअलाइजेशन हो गया उन वीडियोस का। अपन वो मार्केटिंग वाली साइट का अलग विजुअलाइजेशन दे देंगे, पीछे इन्वेंटरी तो सेम ही है इन दोनों से।
करेक्ट करेक्ट, खाली एक माइक्रो साइट है फ्रंट एंड पे, यूजिंग द सेम
सिर्फ
API,
माइक्रो साइट, एग्जैक्टली।
यूजिंग द सेम API, जस्ट अ माइक्रो साइट। Internally, I think we are better positioned internally, it seems to me. Plus, there is this whole negotiation that will have to be done with Google for pricing and all that jazz. बहुत कुछ रहेगा।
इसमें चैलेंज बस यही है रोहित के हमारा हेड काउंट हमारे पास है नहीं अभी। मतलब इसमें अगर कोई चेंजेस लाने होंगे तो we would be moving a little slow till we get people onboarded, right? main apprehension सिर्फ उसका है, otherwise capability wise I see no issues. The only reason why I was also open for going to Mogi was के मेरे को लोग हायर करने नहीं पड़ेंगे and we'll get something from them and they will keep building it for us.
बट इनके ऊपर डिपेंडेंस जो है ना वो ज्यादा ट्रिकी और ज्यादा डेंजरस हो सकती है।
वो तो किसी भी पार्टनर के साथ यही केस है रोहित, अगर जिसकी भी अपन SaaS ऑफरिंग लेंगे वो तो इशू है आएगा ही, जहाँ पे हमको एग्जिट के टाइम पे हाउ वी एग्जिट एंड द इम्पैक्ट और वो सब देखना पड़ेगा।
However, in this case, it's not a ready solution. Now we are basically hoping that he will make it in time, etc., etc. That's what I am basically jittery about now. अगर वो ready होता दिखता तो फिर बात और थी।
गारंटी नहीं है, SDK बना दिए, फर्स्ट टाइम बना रहा है, बगी होगा, क्रैश वैश चांसेस होते हैं हाई, फर्स्ट टाइम बिल्डअप के वो chaos
Exactly my point. It's not like it's a proper SaaS solution कि उसका tested product है, वो पहली बार ही बना रहा है, तो पता चले वॉच खोलते ही ऐप क्रैश हो रही है।
हाँ,
वो तो रिस्क हमारे साथ भी है रोहित।
अरे बट आप ये समझो ना कि जब आप उसको